David Muir, ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney Plus. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney Plus every night.
Tonight we do have breaking news, the emergency unfolding right now. The images coming in, the fires, more than 50 homes burned to the ground tonight. Dozens of fires burning at this hour, families racing to get out. Also breaking, the U.S. war in Iran. Tonight, the dramatic images playing out on Iranian state TV. Iran seizing multiple cargo ships near the Strait of Hormuz. Armed masked Iranians boarding this ship, sweeping through the vessel with guns drawn. It comes just hours after President Trump extended the ceasefire. And what's happening with any second round of talks? Back in the U.S. tonight, emergency crews on the scene, a deadly chemical leak. At least 2 workers killed, more than a dozen hospitalized tonight. The neighborhood rocked by 2 home explosions just 2 hours apart. Multiple people hurt, including a child. Authorities on the scene of one explosion when another home explodes nearby. Tonight, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. grilled. He is asked, does President Trump know there's a major measles outbreak, and how he answers. And he's pressed on the move to no longer require the flu vaccine for members of the U.S. military. In New York City tonight, the disturbing discovery in Times Square. A baby is discovered, and what we've learned tonight. Dramatic moments, a state trooper trying to stop a suspected DUI driver on the wrong side of the road. What the trooper does. The urgent search tonight for crew members. An American cargo ship capsizing. Remembering an iconic singer, songwriter, and guitarist. We'll look back tonight. And here in the U.S. tonight, celebrating the endangered baby elephant, marking this Earth Day. At 500 pounds, this baby is America strong.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. We begin tonight here with the breaking news. The wildfire emergency playing out in the southeast right now. Fast-moving fires forcing evacuations in Florida and in Georgia tonight. More than 50 homes burning to the ground already. Firefighters battling dozens of fast-moving fires, flames jumping a highway as residents race to escape. Parts of the south and the east facing the worst drought in more than 2 decades already. ABC's Matt Rivers on the scene tonight as those families race to get out.
Tonight, the all-out assault in the air and on the ground. Dozens of fires scorching the bone-dry southeast, and there's no end in sight. South of Savannah, new mandatory evacuations issued this afternoon after a wildfire in Brantley County, Georgia, exploded overnight.
We went from 700 acres yesterday morning at about 10 o'clock to almost 5,000 by 6 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
Raging flames seen closing in on a grocery store. Evacuations turning chaotic in the last 24 hours. Drivers turning around as the fire tries to jump Highway 82. Officials say at least 54 homes have been lost. The fire sweeping through this mobile home park, dozens forced to flee ahead of those evacuation warnings from officials. You can see the damage. That car there destroyed, this trailer completely burnt out. This is what people who live here have to come back to. Outside Jacksonville, 2 fires straddling 2 counties merging into one. The railroad fire. It's affected train travel.
Look at this. We're stuck.
Stranded passengers, including Efraim Maldonado, walking on the tracks earlier this week after Amtrak had to cancel some train service due to the fires and smoke.
24 hours stuck on the train in the middle of nowhere.
That fire already incinerating more than 4,000 acres. And in South Florida, another massive fire is burning in the Everglades, more than 6,500 acres, and it's still out of control tonight. David, these fires are fueled by some of the worst drought conditions that we've seen here in decades, and there's no chance of rain until the weekend. David?
All right, Matt Rivers, thank you. Let's get more on that. Let's bring in ABC senior meteorologist Lee Goldberg with us tonight. And this drought really is something, Lee, so early in the season.
And David, you heard Matt say that the rain could come over the weekend, but overall the pattern into early May looks very dry. And this extreme dryness, it's in Florida and Georgia into tomorrow. It extends all the way into the Rockies and Plains. More than a dozen states are under red flag warnings. Onto the storm in the west. It moves into the Heartland by Thursday afternoon and evening. A line of storms from Minneapolis to Wichita, hail, tornadoes, and damaging winds all possible. This will kick off a multi-day severe weather outbreak Friday into the weekend. It's a very active and dangerous storm pattern that'll go through early next week. But again, we're hoping for some rain in the southeast as we go through Sunday. David?
We certainly are. Lee, thank you. There's also breaking news tonight in the war in Iran. Dramatic images coming in tonight from Iranian state TV. Just a short time ago, and look at this. Iran seizing multiple cargo ships near the Strait of Hormuz. In the images, you can see the armed masked Iranians boarding a ship, sweeping through the vessel with guns drawn. It comes just hours after President Trump extended the ceasefire, and as the world awaits any second round of talks now. Mary Bruce at the White House.
Tonight, the dramatic images broadcast on Iranian state TV, 24 hours after President Trump extended the ceasefire, Iran asserting its control over the Strait of Hormuz, seizing 2 cargo ships. An Iranian speedboat seen here racing towards one of the massive vessels. Masked soldiers climbing up to the deck, brandishing long guns, going door to door. Tonight, the White House downplaying this clear act of defiance.
Does the president view that as a violation of the ceasefire?
No, because these were not U.S. ships. These were not Israeli ships. These were 2 international vessels.
Today, cargo ships and tankers clustered outside the Strait of Hormuz, unable to pass in the face of Iran's threats. An officer on one tanker tells us they won't move without safety guarantees. We've altered his voice to protect his identity.
If there is no insurance covering us loaded tankers, to cross the strait, we will never cross the strait.
In Europe, dire warnings of the, quote, biggest energy crisis in history.
We are looking into some very difficult months or maybe even years. Even in a best case scenario, it's still bad.
Here at home, gas prices now averaging $4 a gallon, up more than $1 since the war began. On Capitol Hill, the Treasury Secretary wouldn't say when they'll go back down.
How fast will the prices of gasoline come down?
Again, that is path dependent on when the war and the conflict end.
The president has extended the ceasefire with no deadline, today saying he's putting, quote, no time pressure on Iran to return to the bargaining table. And Iran insists nothing will happen until the U.S. lifts its own naval blockade of Iranian ports. The Iranian president declaring bad faith, siege, and threats are the main obstacles to genuine negotiation. How long should Americans be prepared for this war to go on?
Look, I think President Trump ultimately will dictate the timeline, and he will do so when he feels is in the best interest of the United States and the American people.
President Trump insists most of Iran's missiles and drones are gone. But tonight in Tehran, a show of force, the regime displaying some of the missiles in its arsenal. It comes amid news of a sobering message to Congress from the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency. Marine Lieutenant General James Adams telling lawmakers Iran retains thousands of missiles and one-way attack drones that can threaten U.S. and partner forces throughout the region. And again, David, we saw those alarming images from Iran tonight, those masked Iranian troops boarding those cargo ships. And it comes as there are still no plans for talks to try and end this war. David.
And Mary, while I have you here tonight, I know there's more breaking news coming out of the White House. An unexpected departure at the Pentagon tonight.
Yeah, David, we have just learned that the Navy Secretary John Phelan has just been fired. An administration official telling us he was, quote, asked to step down effective immediately. It comes just weeks after Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ousted the Army Chief of Staff. David, no explanation was given for either departure.
All right, Mary Bruce on breaking developments tonight. Mary, thanks as always. To the other news this evening, emergency crews are on the scene of a deadly chemical leak at a plant in West Virginia. At least 2 workers have been killed, more than 24 receiving medical treatment tonight. The leak causing a dangerous chemical reaction. Residents there have been warned to shelter in place tonight. Here's Stephanie Ramos.
Tonight, at least 2 people are dead and 30 received medical treatment after a toxic chemical leak at a West Virginia plant.
There were 3 employees unresponsive. They've got them in fresh air now at this time.
Around 9:30 this morning, a chemical reaction occurring at the Catalyst Refiners plant located west of Charleston as workers were preparing to shut down part of the facility.
Cleaning and decontamination activities were underway. It is believed that a chemical reaction occurred during that cleaning process that created hydrogen sulfide.
A shelter-in-place issued for a 1-mile radius, which includes West Virginia State University. Several roads shut down. Hazmat teams and first responders racing to the scene. The leak requiring a large-scale decontamination effort. People exposed to the chemicals had to remove all their clothes and be sprayed down. 7 ambulance workers were among the injured. Ames Goldsmith Corporation, the owner of Catalyst Refiners, stating they are deeply saddened by the deaths of 2 colleagues and promising to work with officials to determine the cause of the incident.
David, officials believe the toxic gas has been largely contained inside one building, but they're still monitoring the air quality outside out of an abundance of caution. David.
All right, Stephanie Ramos with us here tonight. Steph, thank you. Also some very alarming moments in a neighborhood in Texas rocked by 2 home explosions just 2 hours apart. Multiple people hurt, including a child. Authorities were on the scene of one home explosion when another home nearby suddenly exploded too. Trevor Ault with the images tonight.
Tonight, a Texas community on edge after a pair of home explosions hours apart in the same neighborhood of this San Antonio suburb, sending 5 people to the hospital.
You've got a small single-story smoke showing and multiple victims in the front yard.
Looks like the whole back of the house whole back of the wall has come down.
Around 6 o'clock Tuesday, emergency crews raced to the first home, finding the back of the house blown open. And just 2 hours later, with fire crews still on the scene, they heard another loud boom just 2 doors down.
We just had another explosion. The Bravo Delta corner of this house is completely blown through. It's just standing up on rubble, and the roof is completely blown off.
The neighborhood forced to evacuate.
About 8:30, the explosion happened again, and everybody's house shook. We all ran back outside and saw the huge fire. The house went down so fast.
Officials say 3 of the people injured are in critical condition, including a child.
David, investigators are now working to determine the cause of both explosions, but the fire department says this was likely the result of a buildup of natural gas.
David. Trevor Ault with the images tonight. Trevor, thank you. To Capitol Hill tonight, where Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was grilled today. Kennedy was asked, does President Trump know there's a major measles outbreak here in the U.S.? How he answers. And he was also pressed on the move to no longer require the flu vaccine for members of the U.S. military. Here's Elizabeth Schulze tonight.
Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. today grilled in back-to-back hearings on the country's worst measles outbreak in decades.
Does the president know there is a historic measles surge occurring nationwide?
You want me to answer?
The question is just a very simple question.
Just want a grandstand.
You're going to get your opportunity.
You want a grandstand?
Can you answer?
I can answer that question.
Yes
I didn't cause the measles epidemic. It started before I came in.
Sir, I'm giving you the opportunity to answer the question. Does the president know there is a historic measles surge occurring nationwide?
I'm sure he does.
You're sure he does?
Kennedy, a vaccine skeptic, has in the past called the measles vaccine a personal choice. But today, a shift in tone, saying the government recommends every child get the shot.
We promote the MMR. We advise every child to get the MMR.
But Kennedy was asked about a new Pentagon policy eliminating the flu vaccine requirement for more than 2 million service members.
Is CDC or any agency at HHS ready and able to detect or monitor localized flu outbreaks in our military as a result of this new, what I think is a backwards policy?
Secretary Heggs was just recognizing that these soldiers being sent over to fight for our freedoms and that they should have some freedom too. The flu shot is an intervention that is often ineffective.
Republican Senator Bill Cassidy, who's also a doctor, cast the key vote to confirm Kennedy as health secretary. Today, we asked if he regretted that decision.
Any regrets about your vote to confirm him, given his inability to be more forceful on that?
You know, I've commonly asked that, and I've commonly said, you make a decision and you move forward.
And David, the senator pressed Kennedy on whether the new nominee for CDC director, Dr. Erica Schwartz, will be able to make decisions without political interference. Kennedy answered she will. David.
All right, Elizabeth Schulze in Washington tonight. Elizabeth, thank you. Tonight, a major change to the congressional map in Virginia that could have a big impact on the midterm elections. Voters in Virginia overnight approving a plan to redraw the map, giving Democrats a better chance at winning 10 of 11 congressional districts in the state. This measure in Virginia passed last night comes in direct response to President Trump's demand for Republicans in Texas to redraw their map some time ago in an effort to pick up more seats in the House for Republicans. We have learned tonight that Georgia Congressman David Scott has died. He was running for a 13th term in Congress. His health declining in recent years, once a leading voice in the Democratic Party, the first black chairman of the House Agriculture Committee. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries tonight calling him a trailblazer. Congressman David Scott was 80. Tonight there are new developments in the case against the popular singer known as David, charged with sexually abusing and murdering a 14-year-old girl in Los Angeles. The autopsy now states that Celeste Rivas Hernandez, who authorities say was found in the trunk of his car, died from, quote, multiple penetrating injuries to her upper body. Prosecutors say her remains were found in 2 bags in that trunk last September. David, his real name David Burke, has pleaded not guilty to all charges. When we come back here tonight, the disturbing discovery in New York City's Times Square, a baby found, and what we've learned tonight. Also dramatic moments, a state trooper trying to stop a suspected DUI driver on the wrong side of the road. What that trooper has to do. Also the urgent search for crew members tonight, an American cargo ship capsizing. The impact of the war in Iran tonight on fuel, a major airline now canceling flights. And celebrating the endangered baby elephant making her debut on this Earth Day, right here in the U.S. at 500 pounds. Well, you can call her America Strong. We'll be right back here. A lot more news ahead. Tonight, authorities here in New York City are searching for a man who they say abandoned a baby girl in New York's Times Square. They say a 1-year-old dressed in a pink onesie was left in her stroller just before midnight last night. She appeared to be unharmed. Police say they are in touch tonight with that baby's mother. Tonight, the dramatic police chase of an alleged intoxicated driver in southwest Colorado, a trooper in a high-speed pursuit right here of a pickup truck traveling on the shoulder on the wrong side of the road. The trooper then performing a pit maneuver, pushing the truck to the other shoulder. The 81-year-old driver was arrested and charged with DUI. Tonight, an urgent search still underway off the northern Mariana Islands for 5 crew members from an American cargo ship. The vessel overturned last week in a powerful typhoon. The body of a crew member found in the hull. Authorities hope the other 5 crew members made it to a life raft. When we come back here tonight, remembering an iconic singer and songwriter, guitarist, feeling all right, we'll look back and we celebrate the endangered baby elephant, 500 pounds already, America Strong. To the index of other news tonight, the effects of the war in Iran affecting travelers now. The shortage of jet fuel leading Lufthansa Airlines to cut 20,000 flights over the next 6 months. European airlines have been warning already that the closure of the Strait of Hormuz would lead to fuel shortages and disruptions. Meantime, here in the U.S., troubled discount carrier Spirit Airlines is reportedly close to a deal with the Trump administration, according to a source familiar with the talks. Spirit's stock soaring nearly 300% today. Spirit currently in its second bankruptcy in a year. We do have a passing to note tonight. What a song. Rock and roll icon Dave Mason has died, an English singer and guitarist who wrote the classic Feelin' All Right. The song was not an immediate hit, but was eventually covered by more than 24 stars. He was also a founding member of the band Traffic. Dave Mason was 79. San Antonio Spurs star Victor Wembanyama suffering a concussion in last night's playoff loss to Portland. The 7'4" forward slamming face first into the court in the second quarter. He's now in the league's concussion protocol, but may still play in the Spurs' next game, which, of course, is Friday. When we come back here tonight, we'll take you to the zoo right here in the U.S., celebrating their endangered baby elephant tonight to mark this Earth Day. You have to see her in a moment. Finally tonight here on this Earth Day, the endangered baby elephant making her debut. Tonight, she and the team caring for her, America Strong. Tonight, the historic debut on this Earth Day at the Smithsonian National Zoo in Washington. Baby elephant Lin Mai, the first endangered Asian elephant born at the zoo in nearly 25 years, making her first public appearance today. Playing in the water, her trunk right to the camera there.
Good girl.
She's about 2 months old now, nearly 500 pounds already. She eats every 2 hours.
If we're pushing it just a few minutes past feeding time, she lets us know that we're late.
Elephant manager Robbie Clark, part of her care team.
She's very smart. She's curious. She's showing us that she has some independence, which is fantastic.
Her favorite activity, they say, bath time.
She has her own little kiddie pool that she has the opportunity to go splash around in. She gets very playful. I think she looks forward to it every day.
Lin Mai joining a helpful herd. Alongside her doting Aunt Swarna, they call her. She's ready to meet you. Starting today, you can visit her at the zoo, and you can see her on the zoo's live webcam on their website. So tonight, on this Earth Day, we celebrate the new baby endangered Asian elephant. The first time at the zoo there in nearly 25 years.
We hope that when people come here to the zoo and see her, they fall in love and turn that into action, learn about ways that they too can help prevent the extinction of this incredible species.
Yeah, an important message. Lynn Mai is going to be quite a draw at the Smithsonian National Zoo. 500 pounds and growing fast. Not going to fit in that kiddie pool for long. I'm David Muir. I'll see you right back here tomorrow. From all of us, good night.
David Muir, the most trusted anchor in America, the most watched anchor in America. Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir the #1 newscast in America.